let me introduce our evaluator for Jaylene. He's a really nice guy, likes some slow walks on the beach. Jaylene, what a great speech. I loved the energy that you had when you came up and did your introduction, and you were so animated. Your voice was animated, and that really was able to draw people in. And you were over here, and you were doing your thing over here, and it got us going. Little hint ahead of time, when you had to kind of get started with also setting your material up, let somebody know ahead of time, whoever that, I mean, I know that our Toastmaster was on there, so if you would have let one of us know ahead of time to be able to move the lectern to help you get set up ahead of time. So just help that nice transition. Great variety, great slides. If we did have people online, we would want to try to get that to Laura Lee. I don't know if we did that or not ahead of time, but she could get those up for them.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Okay.
Loved your 30-second pause with placing your hand on your heart. That's getting people into your speech, getting them involved. We were able to take what you were saying and implement that, which was a nice takeaway. And so, great speech. I'm not quite sure what number that was because I didn't get to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
So make sure you let us know ahead of time who's doing the evaluation for that speech. But all in all, I would say that it was a winner. And are you going to be doing this?
Yeah, it's actually
year?
in the beginning of an hour sort of workshop, interactive, experiential session with
Okay.
different activities.
So definitely, folks, if you enjoyed what you heard this day, go up to Lincoln City and get involved. I still, if I could go in there, but it's a woman's thing.
We would not hear you. At least I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next evaluator is going to be Lori. Lori will be evaluating Laura Lee's speech. Help me welcome Lori.
Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Laura Lee, thank you for a really powerful story. Your objectives were to understand the techniques available to arouse emotion, to become skilled at arousing emotion. On the story, you cultivated both doing tea and did a really excellent job. Some of the points here on the evaluation guide, what emotions did you experience as a speaker who told the story? I think it was so, I don't think you intended to get as emotional as you did, and that power came over and is infectious. Looking around the room, you weren't the only one that was wiping the corners of your eyes. And I don't think you can do that. Only really, really, really good actors can do that convincingly. And so that power of conveying that, I don't think it's something we can turn on and off very easily, but it worked. And I think more impressively is that you were able to keep going. Because a lot of people kind of get choked up by that and stop. And you powered through. And that was really, you got control and you kept going. And that was really very, very impressive. You didn't have dialogue in here. You could have put dialogue in some of these conversations, but I thought it was really just the whole story itself of how kind of going through it, and then you're really being thankful. All these things that you didn't appreciate. How much you wanted to see your dad when you're in high school. I didn't want to see my dad at all. You're like, wow, I am so glad he's here. And I think that kind of thing really, really came through with your story. As far as ways to improve it, one of the things that I've noticed you do is you do your moments from your elbows down. Do big gestures. You've got it. You need to relax and do big things, because you could have used, we were over here, instead you're over here. So you keep your elbows in, do big things, move around a little bit, just become animated, and I think you are on your way.
Thank you. As I was sitting there, I was realizing that I had been neglecting our timer, because I'm thinking, well, we need to get our timer's report. What, Mr. Timer, can you give us a timing report for everybody's speech as well as everybody's table topics?
Well, there's time for evaluations also. Those are timed as well. That's one of the things I forgot to mention is that we have 2 to 3 minutes for our evaluations. Jaylene? You got 6 minutes and 20 seconds out of 5 minutes to 7 minutes for your speech. Laura Lee, you got to 6:05. Just got that green card. Outstanding. Brian, your evaluation was 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Lori, yours was 2 minutes and 10 seconds. For table topics, everybody hit the green and nobody went over.
Excellent. Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to vote their table topics? Chris, are you able to give a present an award?
Thank you all for playing. Well, there is only one man, and that is Lori. Purple girl. I try and cultivate
Remember at home, not when you're old, you can wear purple.
Yeah.
That's right, and a red hat.
And before we get to our general evaluator, can we have a grammarian report?
Yes. I had a good time. Cultivate was used 3 times by Brian, once by Krista, once by Cody, once by Paul, once by Dave, and 2 times by Lori. Ums and ahs, Brian, you took the cake. Fun phrases. Jolene's tingles for yes, open conduit to your heart, bossy, loud voice of your mind. Cody had one of my favorite people. Ryan had animated and bovine. Lori had infectious and empathically. So,
What?
and maybe it's empath. Empathy? That's right. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. And with that, I'll turn the time over to Dave as our general evaluator.
Well, we got a little bit of a late start, which wasn't the fault of the Toastmaster or the president. It's just one of those things, all bridges, so can't really fault you for that. You had pretty good introductions for the speakers, and where you didn't have good introductions is you didn't introduce the Toastmaster. There's always fun when the Toastmaster can introduce himself when he has double duty. You didn't introduce your daughter.
Oh, that's good.
I feel slighted if I were your daughter.
You didn't even shake my hand either.
But other than that, you ran a really good meeting because it's really hard to do off the cuff when you have to fill in and you're not expecting to be the Toastmaster as well as be the evaluator and everything else that you had to do. So all in all, I thought it was an excellent meeting for everybody. Not a lot of comments on table topics. I thought they were all wonderful table topics. They were good table topics for the people and something that we could all respond to. And that's the sign of a good table topic is when people don't struggle to answer the question. And that's my report.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. We were a little bit few in numbers. We had a lot of people traveling. We'll have a lot of people here next week. For next week, I'm going to be Toastmaster. So Dave, well, Cody, so you'll be able to evaluate a little bit more preparedness here, hopefully. Christina will be our speaker. Julia Carlson will be an evaluator. If anybody wants to give a speech next week, because Laura Lee is going to be gone next week. So that is an open spot. So since Dave, you want to do that?
I could do
Okay. Let me grab my pen over here. Thank you.
I'm gonna give the same speech at, the other Toastmasters Club 4 hours later.
And so we'll need an evaluator for Dave. Somebody would like to volunteer for that.
Why don't you keep going?
I was going to go through the rest of the
Yeah.
list here. Jaylene is going to be our grammarian. Dave Kaufman will now not be being the table topics. Lori will be our timer, and Cody is our general evaluator. Are you going to be here next week? Okay. So I'll get a hold of, I know that Lee and Kathleen will be back in town, as well as Brian Henry is going to be out still. I'll get it figured out. So, and that will be my